Hi everybody. I'm going to make two videos about two topics, and I believe both of them are, some of the most important messages that I'll probably ever share. I've taken heat when I've shared these views in the past. I've experienced mild persecution. And when I say mild, I just mean, people trying to discredit me, people kicking me out of groups, kicking me out of messenger groups, that kind of thing, calling me names, lots of names. So I'm kind of expecting a little bit of a backlash. But these are very important concepts, and these are things that need to be talked about. I don't know if any of you know about what's going on in Seattle. Probably most of you do. But, there's this group, and I think Antifa is involved. I'm not sure what all it stands for, and I don't want to get into that. I just know that they started out as a protest for the murder of George Floyd, which was really bad. It was bad. But it became something more, and I believe with they're sort of like their own country, maybe. That's kind of their own territory. That's the impression that I got. So these street preachers decided to go in and preach. Saw it as an opportunity, I guess. I would think it would be a good opportunity. But that he experienced persecution. They were holding him back. They wouldn't allow him to get on the stage or platform that they have there and speak. And I watched as much footage of this as I could because I really wanted to try to get an understanding of what happened exactly. There's no way I can know exactly. But, excuse me, I'm so sorry, but I think it's seasonal allergies. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So I was watching him and listening, and I tried to watch as much as I could. I even watched a video where this street preacher talked about what happened to him. And so I got as much as I could out of it. Now, what I saw happen, in the comments, okay, let me start with that. In the comments to some of these videos that I watched, almost every single one of them were horrible. They were very non-Christian. There was a very wrong perspective of the whole situation. One person even said, well, that's the closest to heaven they'll ever get. That being those who were, holding and then attacking and all these things, this preacher. And I think that is so wrong. That is a wrong perspective. Basically what you're saying is they're not going to get saved. You're saying that you have no hope for their salvation. You're not saying it outright, but when you make a statement like that, what else does it mean? What does it really mean? What can it mean? Very not Christian. What I saw, and I don't want to put this guy down. I'm not trying to say he's bad or wrong. We all make mistakes, and we don't always do things biblically, and that does not make us bad people. That just makes us humans that are growing and learning. So please don't take that I'm putting him down. He did some things that were very admirable. But I do believe there were some things that he did that were not scriptural. And that's what I want to talk about. persecution. Guys, persecution it's here in a way, but it's not nearly what it's going to be. And so it's important that we talk about what do we do in situations of persecution, severe persecution a little more like what this street preacher experienced. Here's the mistakes that I saw him make, and I think it's easy. I mean, it was easy for me to see it and point it out. It might be a little hard for me to explain some of it. But see, I think when we get in situations, and we've all, a lot of us, I know I have, you're in a conversation with people, and they come up against you, and you're talking about God, and you're talking about Jesus, and they get mad, and I've done this in the past, where instead of sticking with, just sharing the message of Christ, you go into this battle. I've done it. This person's saying, well, God is not real, and this is why, da-da-da-da-da, and then, excuse me, this has happened to me. And then I would say, well, you're wrong, God is real, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and just, getting into this battle, this very unproductive battle. Because what happens is he did this and I've done it. You slip into the flesh. It's like they're operating in the flesh and they're being adversarial, and you can be pulled into operating in the flesh like they are. What I saw happen was a man that maybe came in to preach the gospel with the right heart and everything, have a situation and circumstances, and it stopped being about him preaching the gospel, even though he was still saying things. It became him standing up for himself and standing up for Christians and standing up for Christ. In one point of the whole situation, he sat down and he kept saying, this is a Christian zone, this is a Christian zone. That's one mistake that I saw, because you're not witnessing anymore at that point. We're not supposed to defend ourselves in those situations, and that's one of the things so many people disagree with. But if you look at the scriptures, we're told to turn the other cheek. If we look at what Jesus did, he didn't fight. In fact, he healed, Malchus's ear after Peter chopped it off. We look at Stephen. When he was being stoned to death, he was asking God to forgive those who are killing him. And Jesus did that too. Father, forgive them. We have to be very humble. We can't let them engage us into a fleshly argument. That is probably the biggest thing that Satan tries to do when we get out there and try to preach the gospel and we try to share the good news. He wants, people that aren't saved, they're in the flesh. They don't understand the spiritual concepts. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get myself comfortable on the bed. There. Sorry about that. So my point is this. It becomes a situation that's a battle in the flesh rather than being a witness for Christ. He was fighting for his rights, really. That's what ended up happening. And we don't have rights. We need to be humble. And people, a lot of Christians, I hear they're very into fighting for their rights and very into all of that kind of thing. And that's actually not biblical. It's not. Not in any way. You know, Jesus, he was here. Okay, I'm going to get more into this in the next video. This video is getting, I've got about 3 more minutes. I don't want to talk much longer on this. So my point is this. That's what happened there, and you don't want that to happen. And how do you know, it became a battle between the flesh. It became a situation where he was defending his rights as a Christian, defending himself, defending Christ. And so it became something of the flesh, because you know what? We are not supposed to defend ourselves in those situations. We are not supposed to defend Christ. Christ does not need to be defended. He is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and his name is above all. He does not need to be defended. So we don't want to make that mistake. The second thing I will say is, when he was talking about, this is a Christian zone, this is a Christian zone, this was a continuation of, I've got territory here. Christ's territory. This is for me. This is my right. The problem with that, it's still the same thing as the first problem I talked about. You know, of being brought into a battle and defending yourself and your rights. It's still about rights. And we have to realize, when we become a Christian, we are to deny ourselves, carry our cross, and follow him. We are supposed to hate. Jesus even said it. Hate our mothers, fathers, brothers, and so forth. And he who doesn't do that to follow him is not going to be his. That's very clear in the Bible. So, I'm going to go back to this. Okay, he's in this Christ zone, Christian zone. Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. That's the problem with that. There's this idea that somehow we have to Christianize through a legal and legislative way people and nations. And that doesn't work right. We are to convert. We have the Great Commission to go out and preach the gospel and to endure suffering and to count persecution as a blessing because of what happened to the Lord. That's what the apostles did in the book of Acts. Look at their deaths. Look at how they handled persecution. Paul talks a lot about it in his letters, in his books that he wrote. He talks quite a bit about the persecutions and the different things that he did. But this is the thing. We don't have rights. We do belong to a kingdom that's not of this world if we follow him. So we shouldn't be trying to take ground on the earth. You know, this is where there's so many deceptions. It's okay to intercede over a city and an area for souls to be saved and for people's lives to be changed. That's what we're supposed to do. That's not the same thing as legislating it and trying to put it on some place in the earth. You know, there is a zone, is what I'm saying. There is a zone already that already exists, and that's the kingdom, and it's not of this world. And like I said, I'm not coming down on this man. I can't even imagine street preaching. I mean, I want to do it, but I can imagine that it would be very challenging and difficult. And, excuse me, I just wanted to make these points. When we are supposed to be persecuted, when persecution comes to us, we need to express love more, we need to be calmer, we need to endure persecution, and tell them that we forgive them. Continue to say the message of Jesus as long as it doesn't become a battle. And we have to remember that our kingdom is not of this world. That's the biggest problem that we have in the church, is people not really following that. And that's what I'm going to talk about in my next video. I hope this helps you to prepare for any kind of persecution. Me personally, I'm at a place where I don't defend myself. I don't defend Jesus. God can do that. He defends his word. I don't need to do that. I don't need to defend myself. You know, I'm already dead. If it bothers you when people come against you and you experience some type of persecution, you need to look at that closely and pray about it. Because with Paul, Peter, these are things that they said over and over. That the persecution, they didn't let it affect them on a personal level. They didn't take it personally. Because what these people are attacking, and what these people who persecute Christ and Christians, what they're attacking is Jesus. They're attacking the truth. They're not really attacking you. They're attacking the truth. And they're revealing their hearts and the wickedness that's there. And we're dead. We're a vessel. God just pour into us and we speak. Submit it to the Lord. Carrying that cross daily. So I hope this benefited you in some way. And God bless you.